the right thing to do, and there's the easy thing to do, and they're not usually the same thing to do. I'm asking very personally, as a parent, as a teacher, as a coach, as a boss, as a leader, what are you doing to get tougher and stronger and wiser, more resilient, all the words that we constantly use that we need for our kids? What are we doing to set the example, live the example, be the example? Are we soft or are we hard? Are we weak or are we strong? Are we lazy or are we disciplined? We get to choose all of those things. And here's the great question. If you're strong, is life different than if you're weak? If you are positive, is life different than if you're negative? If you have a tough mental attitude and you can handle challenges, is life different than if you are weak and you just fall over every time a challenge comes along? And I'm asking these questions because every single day, without fail, I deal with both kinds of people. There's often people who say to me, I can't do it, it's too hard, and they just give up. The only definition of failure is to give up. So here's a great question. If you never give up, how can you fail? I've got to tell you, and I keep using this amazing mission that I've done here. I've literally moved now this is my last pile, and I've got another pile of rocks over there. I'm at almost 80 tonne of rock, sand, gravel, dirt that I've moved around. I'm an old lady, and I've done that all by myself for a reason, because I want to prove to myself daily how tough and strong I am physically and mentally. There's been days out here and it's been so cold I can't even think. I've got brain freeze. There's been days it's been so hot that I've got sunburned. There's been times when my back's been sore and my arms have been tired and I've been really puffed. And I've just kept going and going and going because I want to be the person that lives the example, that is the example, that lives and breathes being a tough, strong woman. So I'm asking, please, we live in a world where our kids are bombarded with softness, with weakness, with giving up and with failure. And I don't think that our kids deserve that, but our kids don't know what it is to have strength and I'll use the word passion. Are you passionate about what you do? I've been out here singing and laughing and joking, even though everything hurts and it's cold and it's hot and all the things. Because every time I take on a mission, I don't just want to take on a mission, I want to be passionate about it, don't you? I want to be the kind of person that lives the example of passion, excitement, health, fitness, strength, mental toughness. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions as an adult, as an example for our young adults who are going to be old adults. When was the last time you got puffed, and are you getting puffed on a regular basis? Because if you're not getting puffed, you're not getting fit. Going for a walk is an activity, but if you're not puffing when you do that, if you're not going through soft sand or uphills or running or getting puffed, you won't change your body. Your body only changes when you force it to change. So to get fit, you've got to overload your heart and lungs. When was the last time you got puffed? Woohoo! When was the last time you lifted something really heavy? I look at some of my rocks and I go, I reckon that rock's going to be 30, 40, 50 kilos. Can I move it? I'm going to give it a crack. And I never give up. Sometimes I've had to push, sometimes pull, sometimes lift and put it in the wheelbarrow, but I've never given up. Because if you don't overload your muscles, you don't overload your bones, ligaments, tendons, joints, they don't get stronger and your body just wastes away. And if you let it, your body will get old, it will get fat, it'll get weak, it'll just rot away. But you don't have to do that. So how often do you get puffed? How often do you lift heavy? How often do you overload your brain? When you come upon a challenge, do you want to overcome it or do you give up? Whether it's putting together a piece of IKEA furniture or we had a fun time yesterday with my wheelbarrow because it took hours to put this thing together. But in our family, we never give up. We don't stop until it's done. We don't stop if it's dark. We don't stop if it's cold. We don't stop if it's raining. We just keep going until the job gets done. And I'm asking that question. If you come across a challenge, do you give up, fall down, stop and fail because the only definition of failure is to stop? Or do you keep going till the mission's completed? And I love that expression. We don't stop when it's time, we stop when it's done. So many people live their life where, it's 5 o'clock, I've got to go home. And I know that because I've been involved with the building trade now for the last very long time. that most of the people that work in the building trade that start this time, finish this time, even if the job's not finished. The builders that I've really admired, the tradies that I've gone, wow, mate, you're a bloody legend, are the ones that they've only got half an hour more, or they've got an hour and a half more, and they don't stop because it's 5 o'clock. They stop when the job's done. So when was the last time you got puffed? When's the last time you lifted something really heavy and moved it? How many challenges do you overcome? Do you take on challenges? And here's a really great question. This is my last one. Do you take responsibility? We often joke about this at our house. Take responsibility. Now, we all know that. But do we actually do that? And I'll use this series of statements that were given to me by a psychologist. If you're fat, you ate it. If you're broke, you spent it. If you're in a lousy, stinking, rotten job, you interviewed your way into it. If you're in a crappy relationship, you dated yourself into it. You can get yourself out of it. Now, they're not my words, and they're strong and powerful and probably very confrontational. But if you take that on board as a human being and as a strong human being, if I'm overweight, I ate every meal I've ever eaten, I was there. How about you? If I'm broke, every dollar I ever spent, I spent it. And or I could say, well, the accountant made a mistake, or the lawyer made a mistake, or somebody ripped me off. But every single one of those people, I put them in my life, whether it was an accountant or a person who ripped me off or a person who stole from me or a person who cheated me. I put those people into my life. I have to take responsibility for them. So that's a great question. When something happens, do you blame or do you take responsibility? The mental health experts will tell you that the more times you blame, the less mentally healthy you become. The more responsibility you take, the more mentally tough and strong you become. So here's a great question. I'm going to ask them all again. Just knock them off in your brain. When was the last time I got puffed? When was the last time I lifted something heavy? How often do I overcome challenges, and do I take full responsibility for my life? And I'll ask again, if I'm overweight, if I'm fat, I'll say it. If I'm fat, I ate it. If I'm broke, I spent it. If I'm in a lousy, stinking, rotten job, I chose it. And if I'm in a terrible relationship, I dated myself into it. So how about I change all of that? Here's a great thing. We have a choice, yeah? Some things we can't change. The weather, the traffic, other people. Things happen in the world that we have no control over. But here's what we do have full control over. What we decide to do. Can we be healthy? Yes. Can we be fit and strong? Yes. Can we have a career or business that we love? Yes. Can we be financially free? That's the easy one. Hell yes. And can we choose to be tough and strong and wise? Yes. Can we choose the people in our life? I think we can. People say to me, oh, but my parents or my partner or my children, or, well, you know what? Either don't go as often and don't stay as long, or get the help. Get those people out of your life. If you have disrespectful, mean, nasty, horrible people in your life, you don't have to put up with that. So how about we take responsibility? Woohoo! It's not the easy thing to do, but it's the right thing to do. And that's my last question. Are we choosing the easy or are we choosing the right? And they're never, ever the same thing, I don't think, unless you've got a different headspace, which is I want to choose the right thing, so of course that's the easy thing, because I don't want to choose the wrong thing. I want to choose the right thing. Are you tough? Are you strong? Are you fit? Are you healthy? Are you choosing to be? Are you taking responsibility? Is that all a choice? Ha 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 ha.